Tuesday. Because it don't make any sense why you won't at least test the evidence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
There's no point. There's no point. It's done deal.
All right, man.
Thanks, all right, bro. You cool.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
Boom. Hey, what's happening? Welcome to the show, Black Focus Radio.
Yes, sir.
Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. If you want to call the show, you can also hit us up on Facebook. You can hit us up on Twitter. You can hit us up on Instagram, YouTube. So there are a number of places that you can catch the show. And we really appreciate everybody following us. But the main place you can go is download the Joynet Radio app, because periodically we'll play audio and all of those other entities that I just talked about. You won't get that audio, all right? So go and download the Joynet Radio app. Go out to joynetradio.com and click on your prospective app store, or simply just go to your app store and put in joynetradio.com and look for the purple and white logo. And then you can carry it everywhere you go and you won't miss a thing. Lastly, if you just completely missed the show and you say, oh man, I didn't get to hear what David and Robert was talking about today. Well, we have a podcast where we upload every show every day. So you can go out and download the podcast from your prospective platform. So there's no reason why you shouldn't get us. This is an opportunity for you to spread the word to your friends across the nation and the world. So we really appreciate all the support that we've been getting. Robert, how are you doing today?
I'm up in this piece, brother.
When are you going to bring some sunshine, man?
Man, you know what? I'm trying to save it to this weekend.
Man, I'm trying to go fishing. I don't care what you're trying to save.
I'm trying to save the sunshine.
I need a little, man, can I get a 60s? I mean, can I just get a 65 one day?
Just one day? All right.
One day.
I'll give it to you tomorrow.
Oh, man. See, that's what I'm talking about. Let me just look at the weather, man, because I ain't been fishing in about 2 months, and I'm getting a little antsy. You know, I like to go out on the lake or the river.
I
And
take that back, man. I can't do it tomorrow, but I'll give it to you Sunday.
oh, wait a minute. What are you reneging for?
Sunday? You good Sunday?
No.
Well, I need the sunshine this week. I need it. You can have it Sunday. I'll give it to you Sunday. You can have a 65 degree day Sunday. I need the sunshine.
I just need some weather.
I'm gonna be busy with it for a couple of days.
Okay. let's see. It's 47 and fog today.
That's what's up.
It ain't looking good.
It's a beautiful day out.
It ain't looking good. 46, 40. Let's see. Sunday we might. Well, look at that. Saturday we get a 59 and a Sunday we get a 67.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hit the lake. Try to catch me some crappie. Gotta catch me some crappie, man.
Oh my goodness.
You
Bring me
know.
some catfish back, man.
Man, I don't really fish for catfish, man. But I mean, I like catfish. I eat catfish, but I go and fish for specific types of fish.
Just bring me some cat back, man.
So I'm going to fish for some crappie.
I feel
You know, I need some crappie.
Get your crappie.
The crappie season has been messed up with weather all year long, so it ought to be plenty of it.
Get your crappie on there.
But anyway, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Black Facts will be up here in just a moment.
And you know what? I don't know if we talked about that thing with the mayor. I haven't seen it yet. I need to read it. I haven't had a chance to read it. He's talking about. I saw the headline, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet. Have you seen it? I haven't.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Russ posted something on his page about the mayor shooting for the moon. I need to look at
Oh,
it.
I saw that headline. I'll go out and pull it up. I did see that headline.
Well, what?
I just didn't read it.
I didn't get a chance to.
I kind of have an idea of what was going to be contained in the story.
What do you think it is?
that he has an optimistic point of view as far as where he wants. And I don't know this to be true or not. I hadn't read the article. Okay. But I surmise that it was an optimistic point of view of where he wants Little Rock to go under his tenure as mayor. That's kind of what I surmise from the headline.
I got you.
So
right.
it didn't catch me as something that I want to read.
I got you.
But I'll go out. I'll take a quick look at it and see. But I got a feeling that's kind of where it was.
Well, he'll be doing the State of the City address pretty soon.
Right,
so
and that may be
so
part of it as well. And I would, and look, I don't blame him for that. I mean, you have to have an optimistic point of view.
You don't blame for being optimistic.
No, but the point is, he's got to be optimistic, considering the fact that everybody around him is trying to destroy his agenda. All of his underlings, the board, the white board members, all of them. They ain't trying to look. You think they want him to be successful as a black mayor in Little Rock? Hell no. They feel the same way about him as many whites in America felt about Obama. They don't want him to be successful.
You don't think so?
Hell no. Look at what PLOTUS is doing right now. He's trying to undermine and take away any gains that Obama did. Okay? Mm-hmm. They don't want him to be successful. See, so
I never thought about that.
That's what this is really all about. I mean, they'll pretend like, oh, Mr. Mayor, but at the end of, and that's part of the reason that I do support him. Because at the end of the day, he's coming in there trying to change things up.
So you think he's really trying to make some changes?
I think he is.
Okay, good deal.
He's trying to change things up. They don't want any changes. And that goes, look, he makes changes, that's going to have a rippling effect on all these white folks that's been making money in this city for years. They don't want changes, dude. They'll laugh and joke in his face and show up at his little events, but at the end of the day, they working to undermine him. I guarantee you. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a cynic, but I've seen too much of white folks. And we've seen a national case study of how this country has done Obama. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That's just me.
I think whatever he tries to do, he has to take it before the board anyway. So it's not like it's something he can do, without board approval. So.
And they're sitting up there like, ha!
We'll see what happens. Well, I know whenever there's an issue that
we're white people. You're black. You ain't getting jacked, bro.
I know whenever there's an issue that impacts people south of 630, that most of the board members are not supportive. So, if he's doing anything, Director Richardson, Director Hendricks have put up ordinances before that would have had a positive impact on the residents south of 630, and they were voted down if they ever made it to a vote. Some didn't even make it to a. Sometimes they never even got a second. So it's just I'm just interested to see what he's going to say in the State of the City address. I kind of feel bad for the guy. At the same time, people ask me why have I not been more critical of him, and the reason I haven't been more critical of him is because while I appreciate what he's trying to do, I understand the process by which he has to go through to get it done. And unlike Stodler, who Mark's my friend, I consider him to be a friend. I don't think he really tried to push forth any initiatives. I think he just kind of just held it down.
Let's continue this conversation after Black Facts.
All right, cool.
Dynamic Black Facts. Our culture, our history, our people.
I'm kind of reading this story because of the Ledell Lee case. Ledell Lee was accused of killing a white woman. And of course, if you go back through the history of this country, if you even breathe on a white woman and you're black, you were subject to all kinds of torture and whatever the case may be. So on today, January 28, 1934, a 40-year-old black man named Robert Johnson was arrested in Tampa, Florida, and accused of raping and robbing, guess who? A white woman. Tampa police investigated and quickly cleared Johnson of the charges, but nonetheless issued a warrant accusing him of stealing chickens and turkeys. Now wait a minute. You couldn't get him on the rape, so you're going to get him on stealing chickens and turkeys. As a result, Mr. Johnson was not released and instead had to be transferred from the city jail to the county jail. Deputy Constable Thomas Grave was assigned to move Mr. Johnson and decided to do so after midnight. This was not standard procedure, and Graves later claimed he opted for a late night transfer to avoid waking up early in the morning. Around 2:30 a.m. on January 30th, Graves placed Mr. Johnson in the front seat of the police car and began driving to the county jail. On the way, 3 cars full of white men stopped Graves' vehicle, allegedly disarmed the deputy, and made him lie face down in the back seat of his car while they kidnapped Robert Johnson. Now, how did they know he was moving Robert Johnson at 2:30 in the morning? Anyway, it was not uncommon for lynch mobs to seize their victims from jails, prisons, courtrooms, and out of the police hands. Though they were armed and charged with protecting the men and women in custody, police almost never used force to resist white lynch mobs intent on killing black people. In some cases, police officials were even found to be complicit or active participants in lynchings. The mob carried Robert Johnson to a wooded part of the town along the Hillsborough River and Sly Avenue, where about 30 people were gathered to watch the lynching. So wait a minute. He was moving him in secrecy. They figured out where they were the time he was moving them, and they just so happened to have a group of 30 people waiting to watch the lynching. Oh, we'll see. We've been here for 5 days. We ain't had no lynching in a while. We gonna get one. Let's just hang out right here. The men killed Johnson with 4 shots to the head and 1 to the body, all fired from the pistol issued to, guess who? Deputy Constable Graves. After the lynching, Governor David Schultz called for an investigation and a grand jury was convened. Though Deputy Constable Graves testified that he was beaten by the mob, the jury noted that he bore no bruises or signs of injury. Nevertheless, the grand jury claimed its investigation revealed no evidence of conspiracy. No one was ever prosecuted for the murder of Robert Johnson. And that's our Black Fact for today.
Focus Radio for more dynamic Black facts, our culture, our history, our people on JourneyRadio.com.
I'm not forgetting. By the way, if you want to sponsor Dynamic Black Facts, hit me up at 615-554-0568. And also, if you got a business you want to advertise, hit me up. We got a great package going right now that we can take care of you. Now, back to this Black Fact. I'm not forgetting.
How can you forget?
I'm not forgetting any of it.
You can't forget.
And you all should be teaching your children, I want my damn check. Okay? And exactly. And I might be 90 years old and senile, but the one phrase that I'm gonna be able to utter, where's my damn check?
You think you'll be 90 when you get it?
I don't care if I'm 90 in the grave. I can leave it for my younglings. But at the end of the day, the atrocities that people committed against black people in this country, and to think that we ought to forget about it, where people never, ever, ever served any time, and many of these people were killed over BS, I'm not forgetting. And I am so proud of the Equal Justice Initiative and the work that they've been doing to highlight these horrific stories. We will never forget. By the way, Fahim, send me your email, or there's been a story that's been floating around about Mitch McConnell that I just heard about the other day, and I would like to see if there's any veracity to it.
Which story is it?
That he was kicked out of the military, allegedly, in 1967.
Really? I hadn't heard heard that one.
You'd be surprised for what?
The way you're looking at me, I'm going to say sexual assault.
You're in the area.
What is sexual assault? So something sexual.
Yeah, it was. Now this is allegedly. I just saw this. There's people have tried to look at it, but Fahim, he was allegedly kicked out of the military for committing sodomy.
Okay, I have no idea what sodomy is.
Look it up.
Jesus, why you just can't tell me?
Okay, look it up.
Why you just can't tell me what
So
sodomy is?
Fahim and apparently they did some research on it in 1990. And the courier I'm just saying.
You got issues, man.
Fahim, if you've got some information on that, I'd like to have it. And I know you're from the Louisville area. So see what you can find out for me, if you don't mind. Okay? And the question is, how is it that this story has been buried?
Okay, so sodomy.
We know what it is.
Oral
We
or
know what it
anal
is,
sexual
Robert.
Contact or penetration between persons or of sexual intercourse between the person and or animal. Animal? Especially the crime of forcing another person to perform oral or anal sex. Oh, man.
Now, I'm just saying, that was a story that came to me last night. It was from a credible website that someone sent to me. I always try to see, okay, where is this coming from? This person who did the research, they couldn't find, they allegedly discharged him for some type of eye problem. A issue with the eye that is normally not a dischargeable action. You understand that, right?
Uh-huh.
In other words, his discharge is about him having a problem with his eyes. But that particular ailment was not a dischargeable option. In other words, you don't get discharged for that. So many people believe that there is a cover-up. There was a cover-up by the senator that he was interning for at the time as well.
Let's not forget what happened to Dan Rather with the whole,
You know.
thing. Because this is the only thing that bothers me about this. I don't know if you remember. So when they came out with they were talking about George Bush and how his father was able to keep him from going to what is it? Not boot camp, but
To Vietnam.
no, going to drill.
Okay.
Or going to the whatever thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not military, so I can't think what I'm trying to say. But and so they did this whole story about it. Come back and find out that most of it, part of it, wasn't even true.
Right.
Because, I mean, people just threw something. I mean, it was Dan Rather. It came from a very reliable source.
Right.
It came from Dan Rather. But,
Right.
he just got duped.
Well,
And
he
I think this might be another one.
didn't do his research. But
They
the
did their
reason,
due diligence.
no, they didn't. I remember the story. They didn't. They
I
didn't
read the
follow
book.
up.
They did a due diligence, but the thing is that they had people who were saying things, right, who they thought were credible, and when they went back and looked, they looked credible on paper, but the things that they were giving up,
So again, you didn't do your due diligence. Anybody can look credible. Okay.
Dave, so are you trying to say I don't look credible, Dave?
Well, I don't know. I have to wonder. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I don't know if it's true or not. That's why I said allegedly. But the story that I read, this particular individual did some in-depth research on 4 senators. And it was through the Selective Service something. And he went to get their military record, which anybody can do, whether you know that or not. They got everybody's but Mitch McConnell's. So when he called and wrote a letter to the office of why Mitch McConnell's didn't come, they claimed, the office said that information is not available to the public. Did you hear what I just said?
Mm-hmm. That's not uncommon.
Well, no, you didn't hear what I said. He had already gotten through this same office 3 of the 4 names that were requested. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay? He got everybody except Mitch McConnell's. When he calls back to the office to say, hey, where's Mitch McConnell's stuff? They then tell him that that information is not available to the public. You get that now, right?
Yeah, I'm with you now.
Okay. So, Fahim, if you don't mind, if you can look up some information, do some research, point me in a direction. I'm curious. Because I'm going to be honest with you. If there's a more detestable person in Washington right now than Donald Trump, it's Mitch McConnell. And if he's a fraud, we need to know about it. And I believe he is.
He was in the service from July 9th to August 15th of 1967. 37 days of service. It says the reason he left was a medical separation.
His Wikipedia page says that too.
Yeah.
Did you getting that from Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Medical separation, but cat's worth $22.5 million now.
Mm-hmm.
But you know he's also a drug dealer.
He's also a drug dealer, and his great grandfathers on both sides owned slaves.
Well, not only that. So
Okay.
I don't know if you remember I guess it was about 7-8 years ago.
So it was three. It was three of them. So it was. I have the information up right here. I don't say stuff unless
It was three. Okay, give it to me. It was three.
Okay,
Right
the
now?
Selective Service no longer. Okay, so let me just start at this paragraph. December 2007, we submitted a request to the Selective Service classification records for Senator Saxby Chambliss, Representative Tom Tancredo, and Senator Mitch McConnell. When we received the Selective Service classification records from the Selective Service system, all of the records were included with the exception of Senator Mitch McConnell's. And his was an extract put together by Rich Flavin, Associate Director of Intergovernmental Affairs. When Richard Flavin was questioned about sending us an extract of Senator Mitch McConnell's Selective Service classification, he responded in writing that Selective Service no longer has access to Selective Service records for men born before 1960. Knowing that we had already received the full Selective Service classification records for Chambliss and Tancredo, born in 43 and 45, respectively, we felt that Mr. Flavin was probably covering for Mitch McConnell. In Flavin's extract, he writes, the Army ordered him to undergo an armed forces physical examination, which he did on July 1967. Apparently, he did not pass because he was released from the Army August 15th, 1967. So there you go. Okay? So, and I'm trying to see I'm looking here to see what he was discharged for. But again, this story came to me. This is on Daily Cause. The Daily Cause has some very credible stories quite often. I'm telling you what it was, where this is being looked at, but it just seems peculiar. And according to this came up in a 1990 campaign against McConnell, and he was able to brush it off.
Yeah, of course. Well, his wife works. His wife works for Trump. So
Right. She's
she's
what is she?
Secretary of Transportation.
Transportation Secretary.
What's interesting about her being Secretary of Transportation, I go back and say this again. I don't know, what was it, 5-6 years ago? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say 7 years because I'm not really sure. But her family owns a shipping company, and I think now she was over the shipping company, and they found a whole trailer full of heroin or either cocaine on this ship.
Right.
Whole trailer.
It was worth about $90 million.
$90 million. And the crazy thing is that now she becomes the Secretary of Transportation. Interesting. Under Bush, she was the Secretary of Labor. That's under George W. Mm-hmm. Then under HW, she was the director of the Peace Corps.
The official story for McConnell's discharge, in spite of apparently not having an actual physical exam, is a diagnosis of optic neuritis, a condition easily cured by steroids in 1967. According to Allen, optic neuritis by itself is not a reason for an individual to be discharged from the military. McConnell, who also held a position at the University of Kentucky College of Law in 1994, would not be interviewed and would not comment on Cooper's letter or his discharge. Senator McConnell will not be available to discuss this. We have not and will not release Senator McConnell's medical records. There's something going on here. Okay?
Yeah, but his wife was also chair of the Federal Maritime Commission. Mm-hmm. All this stuff that has to do with shipping.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
Ain't that something? Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
So go out, and I posted this article on my wall. It's interesting reading, to say the least. So I didn't mean to get all into that, but since I saw my boy from Louisville online, and I know he'll look into some things. And by the way, the local papers, like I said, looked into it at 91, but apparently McConnell put some pressure on them and they dropped it.
Well, you can do that when you're the whip.
So
you got that juice, baby.
I'm just curious. So, but I just thought I'd brought that up. But no, we were talking about Frank Scott Jr.
Right.
Before we got into Black Facts. And I don't mean to be a cynic. And one of the things that we're witnessing right now, this is going to tie into what we're talking about with Frank Scott. One of the things that we're witnessing right now, and I read an article last night, and the show today is in part surrounding this article. The right of subpar white men to wield power and live above the law is on trial. Okay? So what you're seeing right now with this trial with Donald Trump and so many of the Republicans who are trying to obfuscate the truth is white men who don't know anything about the Constitution,
okay,
but have not ever been questioned in the history of this country up until the last 15, 20 years. And the ultimate question began, or at least exacerbated itself, with the election of President Obama. Now, this is just my conjecture here. Okay? So when President Obama became elected, although they knew that their power was slowly slipping away, and that's why they were working with ALEC and trying to consolidate their bases in the states around the country, and they were projecting on Democrats, calling Democratic judges, per se, activist judges, when in fact that's all they've been doing is nominating activist judges. This, in my opinion, is where they are really beginning to understand how their power is slipping away. And when you look at this impeachment trial, you understand that Donald Trump is saying, I can't be questioned. I'm a rich white man. I don't care how much power you think you have. I'm a rich white man. And he's being checked or supported by other rich white men like Mitch McConnell and those Republicans who they want him to stay in power. So it goes back to what I was saying about Mayor Scott. I truly believe Frank Scott has good intentions for this city. Okay. When you grow up in a city, part of my frustration with Little Rock is that I want Little Rock to be like other cities that I've visited, that I've lived in.
If not be like other cities, at least let somebody come to our city to see something we've done and say we want to model that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I don't mean like be like Memphis, but I'm just saying at least show some future thought,
right,
some moving forward.
Right, yeah.
So when you grow up in a city and you come from the ranks of which Frank did, as I've told you, I know his family.
All right.
Okay, and rise to the top of the heap in the city.
Okay.
Then surely you want your city to be good. The problem what Frank is going to run into, if he haven't already, and I know he probably already has, is that white folks, part of the reason this city has not progressed is because those old white folks and those old attitudes still exist.
So when we start talking about Little Rock, it is completely unfair to keep saying white folk. Because you got just as many black folk that fall into that as you do.
I totally agree.
So let's make sure.
But those black folks have no power.
Some of them do.
No.
Because you're trying to discount some of them. Some of them do. And we're talking about more than anything, we're talking about a mindset in Little Rock.
I agree.
We're talking about a mindset.
I agree.
Right? And so when you start talking about that mindset covers more than just white people. It covers a swath of black folks.
I agree with that. But I'm saying those people that, see, Frank ain't going to run up against those black folks. Those black folks ain't going to stop Frank.
Running up against them.
He's running up against them, but he ran up against them and they didn't want him elected. They failed. Okay?
Well,
he's going to run up against those.
Yeah, no.
Well, I'm saying the power structure, let's put it this way. If there are 10 people with power in this city, how many of them are black? Maybe one?
I would say probably 3.
33%. I don't think it's that many.
I think
but
I would say for sure it's 3.
But my point being is that the ones they'll use those 7 whites, to use those 3 to run interference with Frank, but they are the ones who's wielding the power. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I'll give you that.
So what I'm saying is I think Frank Scott wants this city to be better. But what he's running up against is that opposition that we're discussing today. Okay?
I agree with that.
And as long as, now if Frank just told the city line, the party line, whatever that may be.
On some issues he is. Now,
some he is. Some he is. But I think he's doing it because he's hoping that it'll be, I did this, you do that.
You know, what disappoints me about you is we're right back where we always end up as black folks. No, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. We're right back where we always end up as black folks. So this is where we end up. Because we got a black elected official, we want him to change the world, but the white folks holding him down. We got to stop that. This guy, while I have a great deal of admiration for him, this guy, he did something that I thought he wouldn't get done. He got them to vote to give a citizens review committee without having one person appointed. Now, I'm sure there was a lot of backroom deals to get that done. So you can no longer use that on me. You can't use that on me no more. You can't come to me no more and say the white folks stopping it. You know why? Never ever have I ever seen anybody black ever do anything like that at City Hall. They voted on something sight unseen. So don't you come to me no more with that about them holding them back, bro. Now, say what you want to, but did you understand what I just said to you?
I understand what you
This
said.
board voted on a citizens review board without seeing one name. Now, again, I'll say this just to clarify. There might have been some backroom deal. I don't know that. I'm not privy to that information. But what I will say is, no longer can you use that the white man holding them back. And the reason you can't use that, let me tell you why, is because he did that. He pulled that off.
But that's being naive to say that, Robert.
Say what?
Because he pulled, there was some backroom dealing just because he was
He closed 2 golf courses.
Okay, so you still mad about golf courses?
I'm mad about a lot of stuff.
I wasn't
I'm
playing.
not mad.
I
I
don't
wouldn't
care.
say mad.
I
I'm
don't care.
disappointed.
I don't care that he closed golf courses. I wasn't playing. I don't play golf.
Of course you don't.
What's that supposed to mean? You just mad because you can't go. You can't go and play golf with your little white buddies. Mayor Stodola.
You're funny. I will criticize my friends all the same.
Yeah,
all the same.
Well, ask him, did he put a man to death?
Ooh. I gotta text him and get him on the show. See if he'll want to come on and talk.
I'm curious.
I gotta first make sure he was the prosecutor because it happened in Jacksonville. So I gotta first make sure he was the prosecutor.
Well, I'm just saying.
He was the prosecuting attorney at the time. But I gotta make sure their office actually prosecuted the case.
Well, I'm just simply the point I'm trying to make about Frank Scott is that I believe that he wants to do right by this city.
I believe he does.
Now, whether or not that gets done, it's going to fall in his lap. But nobody's going to
say somebody's holding it back because, like I said, that was a coup, bro. You don't pull off nothing like that.
So you do.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Let me take you back. Let me tell you something.
That was one battle of many that needs to be fought in this war.
Stoller, your boy Stoller. So Stoller, in Stoller's, when he ran to have more power, right? Mm-hmm. When Stoller ran to have more power, it said that Stoller could not make less than the highest paid city employee.
Yep.
The highest paid city employee would be Bruce. Mm-hmm. Right? So technically, every time Bruce gets a raise, guess who else gets a raise?
The mayor.
The mayor,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The mayor came in, I think he came in probably making, I'm going to say 150, 160, let's say 152, all right? When he left, I think he was only making 191. I mean, 158, I think. I got to go back and check that. But Bruce had outpaced him. Mm-hmm. You know why that is, right?
No, I don't.
Let me tell you. Because the only way that he could get an increase was one of the board members had to make a motion. Somebody had to second it, and he had to get a majority of the vote to make it happen. Mm-hmm. That only happened, to my recollection, it only happened twice that I can remember. And he was there for what? 16 years? 12 years? I can't remember now. 7 to 19, so 12 years. Only happened twice. Bruce got a raise almost every other year, and he didn't. Now, I want you to think about this.
You know why?
Now, I want you to think about this.
Okay.
Though. The mayor was in lockstep with him on mostly everything. He was in lockstep with
They didn't like Stoller.
I don't know.
They didn't like Stoller.
He's a very likable guy. I don't know how to get
Yeah, but they didn't like Stoller.
But my point to you is
now that's just word I heard that they got along with him, but they did not like him.
Well, I don't know. I thought he was a decent guy, but
Yeah,
I thought he was a
y'all
decent
get to
guy.
play golf.
I thought he was a decent guy away from politics. And I told him this on the corner of Broadway and Markham. I said, "Man, you're a good dude, but you're a horrible damn mayor." But it was the truth. It was the truth. But he came around. He did some good things. I got to give him credit. He did some good things. We worked together on some stuff, and I'll give him credit. He did come around, and he did. I think he did improve before he left.
What does he owe you money? You're trying to talk nice about him so he can pay you.
You are sick, man. No, seriously, I think he did some nice things, man. Before he left, I think he was.
Well,
I think he did some good things.
My point is that I believe that what you're going to see now is a whole lot of opposition running up against Frank Scott, whether it's black or white. Because I agree with you, there are a lot of black people in there. Part of the reason this city ain't moved forward is black people too. Black people don't even demand anything in this city.
I don't think most of us know what to demand.
Well, hell, demand something.
Yeah.
Demand. Look. Closed mouths don't get fed.
I think politics in Little Rock has become this for black folks, for just common black folk. Politics in Little Rock is all about whoever gets elected. It's not about them. Because if it was about people, then you wouldn't be supporting people who haven't done the work to be your elected official, who don't have a clear understanding of what the issues in your community are, and who haven't been out there fighting for those issues.
But I'm telling you, Robert, that's a game. They want to keep you dumb and ignorant. Okay?
So that's why they handpick your candidates.
That's why they want to keep you dumb and ignorant. They don't want you to do anything. They don't want you. They want you to just toe the line. If I tell you not to vote, don't vote. If I tell you to vote, I mean, look, the classic example of the fecklessness of Little Rock leaders in this city, black so-called advocates, is this Ledell Lee case. This case has trended nationally now. I'm seeing the case popping up on all kinds of websites.
So now you get a bunch of people come out the woodwork now. That's how I usually work.
Well, but why? Where are you? Where are you? This story broke this weekend, last week. I haven't heard one of these so-called black leaders in this city to call a press conference and say, hey, we want the governor and Leslie Rutledge, I think Keisha called her Lilas Rutledge. We want her. We want that. They ought to make a statement here. Why? Look, they don't need to wait on anyone to give them authorization. Here's the thing that I was thinking about, because Roselle was talking about this in this show. What if I told you that the Jacksonville Police Department no longer has that evidence?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Watch what I tell you.
I won't be surprised. Why would you be surprised?
Watch what I tell you.
But why would you be surprised?
But see, here's the thing. The law mandates that you hang on to capital crime evidence. Mm-hmm. It's the state law. Mm-hmm. But what if I tell you that they don't have it?
Yeah, because the flood happened.
What if I tell you? I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be. And we're going to address this with Ferranda on Friday.
This is what bothers me about having these conversations. This is what always bothers me. So we're having this conversation. This man is dead. This is a conversation we should have been having 10 years ago.
I totally agree.
And all these Johnny come latelys.
You're making my point.
What happened when the man was on death row?
You're making my point.
But this goes back to how we as black people throw our people away. We don't fight for our people. Right. We don't stand up and fight like we should. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that you don't have the evidence.
You're making my point.
I'm not surprised at all.
Is that if we had effective leadership in this city, these arguments should have been made 10 years ago.
It's not just leadership. It's not just leadership. Because we have lawyers here. I mean, gee, I think back to, to why don't we have lawyers who that's all they do? We don't fund.
In other words, where are the John Walkers?
Yeah, I don't think John Walker would have done a criminal case.
I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying his mentality of fighting for the downtrodden and fighting for justice. Where are those lawyers in Little Rock right now?
I'm trying to think
That's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to think of the book I read. I read this book about this brother in Mississippi who they accused of committing the murder. And his church raised the money to pay the lawyer because they knew the guy was innocent. And he eventually got off, but those are the things I'm talking about that we don't do anymore. We've gotten so far away from what our roots used to be. We're not even close to where our roots are now. We're not even close.
I agree with you.
I mean, back in the day, we did have those churches we could lean on. People go to church and say, hey, you know what, there's something going on in the black community. We need to come together collectively and see how we can figure it out and get it done. We don't do that anymore. You
got black preachers in this city right now telling their flock not to vote or don't participate in activities that are for equal rights. You got black preachers doing that right now in this city.
Because they're talking about the issue of homosexuality. Now, part of that I agree with, because again, part of that I agree with, but let me explain why. Black folks, we are a protected class for a reason. We are a protected class for a reason. And we have allowed everybody else to be a part of this protected class. We are a protected class for these 3 reasons in particular. First, we were not allowed to learn how to read and write, right? Secondly, we were held in bondage, used and abused. Thirdly, we were freed with nothing. So we became a protected class because of the issues of our ancestors. That's why black folks are a protected class. But now they want to throw homosexuals in a protected class. They want to throw Hispanics in a protected class. They want to throw some guy who says, I'm a man, but I want to be identified as a woman. But really, I don't want to be identified at all. I mean, they just want to throw everybody in there. To me, not acceptable. Not acceptable. The reason we're a protected class is because we were, because of the issues, because of what we went through being here in America for 400 years. That's why we are a protected class. You just can't let any and everybody become a part of that protected class, and that's what we've done. We've let white women in. Everybody can be a protected class now. Everybody's in the protected class. So guess what? If for some reason people say, hey, you know what? When we give out the money, when we give our reparations, we're only going to give it to the protected class. And guess what, Dave? Guess who all gets paid?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading some stuff. By the way,
so you ignore me now?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you're trying to.
No, because
but it's okay, fine. But you know I'm telling the truth. But that's all right.
You're not.
That's all right. Oh, so what? Hold on. So what? Look up protected class. Who's in the protected class now?
Look
it up, bro.
I'm not arguing with you about that.
You can't. Bring what you got, bro.
You can't.
Bring what you got.
I'm simply saying, I'm not even talking about the protected class thing. I'm simply saying this, that we shouldn't even be concerned about that if we're not willing to protect ourselves. That's what I'm saying. Okay? We're not willing to protect ourselves. We're not willing to take out those people who are selling us down the river. And there are quite...
Take them out. How would you like to take them out, Dave?
See, I used the wrong phraseology. I'm sorry. That was a Freudian slip.
How would you like to take them out, Dave? What would be your form?
We need to sit them down.
What would be your method?
Okay, well, a drop squad wouldn't hurt, but since we don't have a drop squad.
It wouldn't hurt. No, it would not.
But, I mean, I'm stunned that the many people that I've met here who are black, who work to undermine black issues for their own personal interests. I'm stunned.
The bad thing is you have a lot of them who are undermining black issues who think they are trying to forward them, but they have no idea.
They have no idea what they're doing, that's an excellent point, Robert. They think that what they're doing is forwarding the black agenda,
and it's not.
When they don't have a damn clue.
No, you got. I mean, you just. Yeah, it's hard, man.
By the way, national origin, gender, and religion have always been a protective class in the 1964 Civil Rights Act.
What's that now?
National origin, gender, and religion have always been a protected class in the 1964 Civil Rights Act. That's from Fahim. And you're exactly right, Fahim. So they've always been a protected class.
Tell Fahim, no.
You ain't got to tell Fahim nothing. You tell him. He listening.
Fahim, dig a little deeper, dog. You ain't dug deep enough.
Okay, don't be getting mad at me.
No. The thing is that we are not fighting for their protected class. We're not fighting to keep all these other folks from being a part of it. So if they say, hey, look, we're going to pay everybody in protected class. Guess what? Who all get paid? Well, what Fahim said, who all get paid?
I'm sorry, I'm reading a letter here. I mean, I'm not reading a letter, but I'm reading. Dr. Naquindra Brooks, who lives in Russellville, is asking to be on this show. So I'm going to reach out to her. She just sent me an IM. So.
Naquindra Brooks?
Yes.
Okay.
She listens all the time on me, right? Now you see. Now you see.
Now it comes out. No, but seriously, that protected class is very important, and we need to do everything we can to protect it.
Well.
But what do you say? What's in there now? Hold on.
First of all, we need to kill all the snakes that's in the class.
How are we gonna kill them?
That's rhetorically.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. You're not okay.
I'm just serious, man. I've seen more people undermine our people, and I'm sick of it. And I think Rutledge was making an excellent point. Is that many of those black people are for the death penalty, not understanding that more black people get put to death than anybody else per capita in this country. More of them have no legal representation whatsoever. Yeah. And you have black folks saying, yeah, put them to death, they deserve to die. And don't understand that they're fighting a system that is not even designed for their worth. See, part of the reason of reading the Constitution and understanding the Constitution is this, is that you as a black person must understand that you did not exist as a human being in the Constitution of the United States at its inception.
That's why they created a protected class for you. But now they've added religion and everything else in their protected class, ain't they?
I ain't getting into argument.
Ain't they, dog? Ain't they?
You hate to be wrong, don't you?
No, I don't hate to be wrong. I just think it's important that we understand where we are and what we're dealing with. Because I think sometimes we kind of lose sight of that. Because, people tell us, hey, we want to love everybody.
Yeah, we do. That's why you ain't going to, let me see. It's said on that show. Who is Denise Donald? This is from Rockmond Carter. Denise Donald said on her show that she uses black to get in the room, and once in the room, she will advocate for LGBTQ, the bait and switch. I don't know who Denise Donald is.
You know Denise, she came on our show once when we were looking for a female host. Bald head, and she has a bald head.
I don't remember.
Yeah, she does the show that I used to do on Tuesdays. And she does that show now at.
So she advocates for lesbians, but she uses her blackness to get into the room.
Yeah, that's what everybody does. Everybody's black when it's convenient.
Is she's black?
She's black. Everybody's black when it's
Since
convenient.
I don't know the lady, I won't comment. But I'll just say this:
I know Denise. She's a good person, man.
not if you're using that.
She's
You're
a
not.
good person. I know
You have ulterior motives.
She doing something shady.
Of course you are. You're using black to get in the room, but once you get in the room, you're not advocating for blackness. You're advocating for some other group. Yeah, that's shady. I'm sorry. And if she's listening, call the show, Denise. Because at the end of the day, look, I'm over this LGBTQ stuff. I done told y'all that. I ain't carrying no water for them. Because at the end of the day, if you black and you gay...
I'm only carrying water for folks who carry water for me.
That's the point.
And unfortunately, you don't hear people coming out talking about the issue. LBG, the LBG, whatever it is, the alphabets, they're always talking about issues, and they're always trying to compare themselves to the black struggle, but you never hear them come out and talk about issues that impact black folk. So yeah, I don't have any time for that.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm black. And
I represent black folk.
Exactly. And
I talk about black issues because I'm black.
And that's why the show is called Black Focus.
I talk about the issues and how they impact me as a black man. I mean, when I listen, and people try to get mad at me, and I tell them, I listen to how this world impacts white people every day, because every time I watch the news, it's not talking about my perspective of whatever they're talking about. They're talking about the majority perspective.
Right.
They're not ever talking about my perspective. So
Right.
at least here, we talk about our perspective, how it looks to us and how we feel about it. So I think that's good. And I think, Denise, I don't know if she really meant to say that. I don't know.
Well, it just sounds shady to me. It just does. Because at the end of the day, you ought to be supporting black issues, period. Because as I say all the time, if you never tell me you're gay, I never know. You get that, right? Mm-hmm. If you never tell me you're gay, I never know. If you never dress flamboyantly to indicate your sexual preference, I'd never know. But at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, I can't take this blackness off. I can't hide it. So if you're advocating for anything, you ought to be advocating as it relates to race.
Okay, I just want to do this real quick. The United States federal law protects individuals from discrimination or harassment based on the following 9 protected classes: sex, race, age, disability, color, creed, national origin, religion, or genetic information. And genetic information was applied in 2008. Now, this is what's important. You got race, Civil Rights Act of 1964, religion, Civil Rights Act of 1964, national origin, Civil Rights Act of 1964, age 40 and over, age discrimination in employment, Act of 1967. You got Sex, Equal Pay Act of 1963, and the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The Equal Opportunity Commission interprets sex to include discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. All right? Protect the class now. Pregnancy Discrimination Act, familiar status, Civil Rights Act of 1968, Title 7, I got my glasses, Title 8, prohibits discrimination for having children with an exception for senior housing, also prohibits making a preference for those with children. Disability status, Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and Americans with Disabilities Act 1990. Veteran status, Vietnam era veterans Readjustment Assistance Act of 1974, and the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act. Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act. Individual states can do and do create other classes for protection under state law. Presidents have always issued executive orders which prohibit consideration of particular attributes in employment decisions of the United States government and its contractors. These have included Executive Order 11246, 1965, Executive Order 11478, 1969, Executive Order 13087, 1998, Executive Order 13279, 2003, and Executive Order 13672, 2014. I wonder who did that one. I wonder what that one is. Shall we look? That's
I don't care.
You don't care, Dave? Why
No,
don't you care?
because at the end of the day, I ain't carrying nobody's water but black water.
Okay. But President Obama in 2014,
You wonder. You think.
Hold on. In 2014, he...
Don't talk about Obama.
I'm not talking about Obama.
Don't talk about Obama.
I'm reading his executive order.
Don't read his executive order because that means you're talking about it.
Amended 2 earlier executive orders to extend protections against discrimination in hiring and employment to additional classes. It prohibited discrimination in the civilian federal workforce on the basis of gender identity.
My president.
And in hiring
You talking about my president?
by federal contractors on the basis of both sexual orientation
He my
and
president.
gender identity.
He my president.
No dude.
He my president.
No dude.
He my president.
He my president too. I love
He
that
my
brother.
president.
I love that brother.
He my president.
But I love that brother. But we also have to call folks out when they do stuff.
He my president. I'm just simply saying, hey, we got to take the top of the hour break. You ran over reading that mess. At the end of the day, the only rights I'm concerned about is black rights.
Say it again. I'm black and I'm proud.
Let me say it one more time. The only rights I'm concerned about is black rights. I ain't concerned about animal rights. I ain't concerned about tree rights. I ain't concerned about water rights.
I'm concerned about water rights.
I
They gotta have water.
I ain't concerned about bug rights.
Damn, Dave.
And the only rights I'm concerned about are black rights.
Damn, Dave. You
I'm just saying. Back in a moment.
a mofo.
Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our black focus. On JoyNetRadio.com.
So yeah, we got people watching from
The law offices of James F.
said what?
Swindoll provides our clients.
We got people watching from,
and attention that
we got people
larger law
listening.
firms
Man,
cannot
this guy hates
offer.
it.
Our experienced attorneys have brought hundreds of
That's
cases
been
to
the most.
verdict in state and federal
No,
court
just
and
one.
recovered millions for our clients. If you
Ooh, he
or
knows
a
about it
loved
from
one
KC.
have been
Yeah,
injured
man.
or have property
What's the
wrongfully
name?
damaged,
Huh?
we
What's the
may
name?
be able to help.
Ty.
Do not hesitate to contact our firm
Tie me up.
anytime.
Tie me up.
Attorney consultation. Call 1-800-848-1290.
So, yeah, that's
1-800-848-1290. Or email inquiries at arkansas-personal-injury.com. Our law offices are centrally located at 212 Center Street in Little Rock. That's
They're
the
all
law
in the same
offices
general
of
area.
James F. Swindoll. Personal injury and products liability attorney
Texas,
serving Arkansas since 1977.
Mitchell Funeral Home welcomes all of Arkadelphia and Arkansas
Wichita,
to
Kansas.
connect with a
That's
family-owned and
Kansas City.
operated service
Yeah, that's
provider
Kansas
in
City.
Clark County since 1966. At Mitchell Funeral
How many we
Home,
got from
they understand
Dallas?
that the
Which
funeral
one?
is a celebration of a life and legacy, so the entire staff takes
Yeah,
great
that looks
pride
like
in the
only
caring, personal, and professional services they provide. Cremations, funeral planning, burial policy, life insurance, notary, and monument sales are just a
Hey,
few
for the
of
first
services
time,
they
we don't
offer.
have anybody
Flexible
listening
packages
outside
are
of the
available
country.
as well.
That's
Mitchell
rare.
Funeral
We
Home
usually always have
Always have
someone
somebody, yeah.
outside in Germany or
and
somewhere.
Continue to enhance their services. So, as
Huh.
to serve you better. Call now.
That's a surprise.
870-246-2611. That's 2611. Call, click, or come by. MitchellFuneralServices.com. Don't wait till we're needed. Call us now. Let's walk through this together. 870-246-2611. It's quality you can appreciate and service you can depend on at Mitchell Funeral Home.
Hi, this is Alvin from Habibi's 4317 East Broadway in North Little Rock. We still have the green top at your very next stop. The same great service, but more on it. Give us a call, 501-663-1553 or 664-2992, or call our toll-free number, 1-877-778-diapers,
Have you been watching any of this impeachment?
Hospital beds, wheelchairs, diabetic
Dude,
supplies, underpads, and more.
this is a trip.
Durable medical
It's a,
supplies.
man, think about it from this perspective. You got Alan Dershowitz, who is trying to defend Trump, who, when they were impeaching Clinton, said that you don't have to commit a crime to be impeached. Now he's saying you do. But furthermore, he's also been implicated with Jeffrey Epstein. You remember Jeffrey Epstein, right? So then you have Pam Bundy, who was the Attorney General in Florida, who was supposed to be investigating Trump, who was supposed to be investing Trump, and
of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
all right, let's come back. All right, welcome back to the show. Something happened to my open there. I was looking for it, but I'll find it here in a moment. Welcome back to Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. Ah, there it is. That was weird. 855-525-5683 is the number. I know, last hour we were talking about us carrying water, who we're going to support. I'm going to be honest with you, folks. I'm just going to be clear with you. I don't care if you're mad at what I just said. Let me look right at the camera so you can get that. Oh, he mad. No, I ain't mad.
You got it yet?
Let me
Get that look. Get that look back.
I don't care if you're mad about what I just said. Do I look mean enough?
You look mean enough, bro.
Okay. Because at the end of the day, black people have carried the water for this country since they've landed on these shores. And we have been treated like crap. I don't care if you're mad. I don't care if you never listen to this show again. At the end of the day, I'm for black people. I'm for this right here. Now, I don't mind helping other people, but at the end of the day, it's called self-preservation. And right now, we are the only people in this country where this country has purposely set out to try and destroy us. Not gay folks, okay? Not Hispanics. We are the only people in this country where this country has tried to destroy us in every shape, form, or fashion. Did you hear the black fact about a black man who was killed for allegedly looking at a white woman, and then they lied and said he stole some chickens and turkeys? Now let me ask you a question. Think about it from this perspective. How many turkeys do you think you can really steal? I saw a story the other day where this man was killed because he was on the way to take his rooster to a cockfight, and the rooster killed him. So you try to catch more than one chicken if you want to. I ain't carrying nobody else's water. I'm proud to be black. I hope you're proud to be who you are. But at the end of the day, don't come here asking me to carry your water, because it's not going to happen. This is about black people. It's about us getting what we deserve. And that's our check, our reparations. Nothing else. Sorry. And if we don't have black people that understand that, then they need to be drop squatted. They need to be out of here. It's time for us to start pulling together as black people. 1.5% of the total economy that we own today. That's the same amount that we owned at the time of the Emancipation Proclamation. I'm tired of this, man. I'm tired. I'm tired of can't even get stuff done in our own communities because we don't support our own communities. Let me get down on my. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because I'm black and I'm proud. And you got a problem with that? You the damn problem, not me. What you doing, Robert?
Dang! You needed your theme music, man. You gotta have theme music, dog. Yeah, you was on one. You gotta have theme music.
Man, I'm tired of this mess, man.
Black man.
Yes,
I love you, black man.
Thank you, man.
Love you, black man. Love you, black man.
I'm tired of this mess, man. I'm tired of wondering whether or not my son's gonna grow up, my grandchildren's gonna grow up in an equal society. I'm tired of praying for it. I'm tired of hoping for it. The only way it's gonna be done is you gotta demand it, and you gotta be willing to fight for it. And this okay, let's just get along to get along. I almost said something. That stuff ain't working. That stuff ain't working. I'm just sorry. Don't get mad at me. Go stand in the mirror and get mad at yourself. Anyway. 855-525-5683. We kind of got off on a tangent about the mayor, but I think the mayor wants good things for this city. I just simply think that there are a lot of people that don't want this city to change. And all I got to do is look at the last 30 years. And I have a unique perspective because I was gone for 35 years. Right. And this city, and I got to witness 2 major cities change. Memphis and Nashville. I got to see economic growth. I come back to Little Rock, there isn't any. It's the same Little Rock that I left in 1987. It's the same damn Little Rock.
I think when people get upset and they realize that the powers that be, they profit from our misery. And by that I mean they profit because of the neighborhoods we live in. They profit from that, but they don't reinvest that money into our communities. And so I think when we educate ourselves about how that happens and why that's happening, and in particular World War I, and I always tell this, and I'm gonna share it here again today. So people always say, man, I can't believe Ward 1 looks like this. Because Ward 1 is the richest ward in the city. Everything is in Ward 1. Most of your banks, guess what ward they're in?
Ward 1?
Ward 1. Some of your downtown banks. Most of them are in Ward 1.
But see, if I don't have to live in that ward, I don't care what's happening in that ward. You see what I'm saying? And here's why I say this, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but when I was living in Memphis, I was working at Baptist Hospital, and I was doing rites of passage camps at Lamar Terrace. Lamar Terrace is was at that point one of the worst housing developments in Memphis. Okay? And when I would be in the office at the hospital, I would be talking about, talking about raising funds and the program and things of that nature.
Right.
The white people in the office would say, well, where's Lamar Terrace? Now, here's the killer. If you know anything about Memphis, Interstate 240 splits Memphis, okay? If you're coming from south, you've got to come up 240 to get to Union Avenue, which is where Baptist Hospital was located at the time, okay? You know what the exit is before Union Avenue? No. It's Lamar. You know where Lamar's Terrace sits? Yeah. Right off the interstate. You can't miss it. I know you're talking okay? About, So the white people in the office would say, where is Lamar Terrace? Well, damn. You come by, well, where do you live? Well, I live in South Haven. Well, if you live in South Haven, you got to come up I-40 to get to it.
Drove right by it.
You drive right by it every day. But my point being is this. See, white people will come into the inner city and they will turn their heads, turn up the radio, or do whatever they can to ignore what's going on in the inner city. And I always use that story because white people know what's going on in Ward 1. They know what's going on in Ward 2. They simply don't give a damn. Because if they did, they would be imploring their city leaders, their ward members, their directors to say, hey, this affects us too. But they don't.
You know, you're talking about...
You don't got me upset. I was going to be cool and calm today.
You're talking about $600 million. And when you start having a conversation about $600 million, let me go back to make my point. Ward 1 is the richest ward in the city, just because of what's all centered in Ward 1, okay? But let me tell you something really interesting. In 2000, the boundary for Ward 1 was out past Fush all the way to Am Street, below 630, okay? All the way to Am was our cutoff. In the 2000 census, the median income in Ward 1 was $24,731, right? Okay. In 2010, because Ward 1 has lost so much population, they stretched Ward 1 from Am Street. Now, from Fush to Am was already the boundary in 2000. In 2010, they stretched that boundary from Am all the way over to Tyler Street, right? Onto the, to the east side of Tyler Street. They took in all those houses. I'm going to roughly say they probably took in, let's just say for argument's sake, they took in, let's say 600 rooftops, right? The median income, guess what it went up to? $32,000. An increase of $7,000. You took in all those rooftops. Now, people are saying, well, how do you calculate the median income? What they do is they take all the incomes combined, right? They take all the incomes that come into Ward 1, and then they divide about how many people there are, and they give you your median income, right? Well, think about that. Think about how many people you have who are making less than $12,000 a year because they're on retirement or Social Security, and we never take that into account. Not only that, we don't even put forth legislation to address the ills of folks who are over there. I mean, these are the things I'm talking about when you're having good governance. That people are taking into account the data that's provided you, so you can have a good look at what's out there. We're not doing that currently.
Well, the bottom line is that your leaders don't give a damn about you. And I'm not just saying the elected ones. And here's the thing. What I'm trying
to
to
say, they don't give a damn.
Well, they don't, Rob.
They just don't. They're just not very effective.
Well,
getting it done.
So to be effective, you got to know that you're not being effective, and you got to either say,
well, it depends on what
it's kind of like
effective.
this. Well,
how would you define effective?
Well, let me give an example. Okay, and everybody knows sports.
Okay.
Everybody at some point has tried to play sports.
Okay.
Okay. I remember when I was a senior in high school, our first game against Pine Bluff. We won that game. I thought I played a great game at defensive end until we got into the film.
You didn't do so well.
I did okay, but I didn't do what I thought I had done. Now, what's my point here? Is that a lot of us are running around thinking that we're being effective, that we're doing a great job. And until someone pulls you into the film room and points out to you, yo, dog, here's what you should have did, but you didn't do it.
Well,
nobody is taking them into the film room. No one is saying, hey, dude, what's your problem?
The thing is, people don't want to go into the film room.
Well, if you don't want to, look, had I not went into the film room, you know what would have happened to me? I'd have been on the bench.
You know what? There's a difference. You have a coach. Other people don't understand how that process works. Give you a great example. I went over, we told you about Linda had that little meeting where she had everybody come in and talk about education and what's happening, right? And she had Chastity Smith there. I think I'm saying her name right, Chastity, or Charity, whatever her name is. I hope I'm saying it right, but her name is Dr. Charity Smith. And She was talking about preparing kids to take tests, right? So I asked Senator Chesterfield after, I was like, so what's up with the preparing kids to take tests? She said, well, I had a conversation with the governor, and he said, if we want to get our school out of distress, kids got to pass the test, right? That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
So if that's the case, then guess what? Guess what's been going on for 4 years? Nothing. Nobody's been working toward that. Nobody's been working toward helping the kids pass the test, because if that's what they say you need to do to get the school out of state control, then that's what you should be working toward. Not having sit-ins, not having rallies, not doing all this other stuff. Address the heart of the issue. The heart of the issue is you need to help kids pass the test. Now, do I agree with it? I don't agree with it. But as an advocate, I get it, right? Because your job is
as a what?
As a former
activist. Yeah! Did y'all hear that?
As a former
He's
activist.
back!
I'm not back.
You know that.
Not back.
What is a Freudian slip?
I'm not back, Black.
What is a Freudian slip?
That wasn't a Freudian slip. I'm not back.
We know who you think you are.
I'm not back, Dave. I'm never coming back. I'm never coming back.
I'm just saying.
I'm never coming back.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm never coming back.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm never coming back.
I'm just sorry.
No, seriously. I mean, those are the kind of things I'm talking about. You have to be having conversation with people in power so you can know what you got to do to move the needle forward. And unfortunately,
you're right, Tanya. He's back.
No, I'm
see,
not
you
back.
got that, didn't you, Tanya?
I'm not back. I'm not back.
Look
I'm
at
not back, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
I apologize. I'm not back.
There's Robert Weld.
Not back.
Robert Weld,
Not
the advocate.
Back. Not.
He's back. He's
No,
back.
I'm not back.
You heard it with his own words.
I'm not back, y'all.
He's back.
I'm not back.
I think I'll make a promo about that, too.
No, I'm
that
not
Robert
back.
Weld was back.
No, I'm not back.
I think I would.
I'm not back. I am not back.
Yeah, right. Robert, go ahead and admit it. There you go.
I'm not back.
He mad at me now, man. Okay. Oh, man. 855-525-5683 is the number. By the way, did you watch the Grammys?
No.
You didn't? Well, did you see the guy that had the lampshade on?
No. Somebody should talk about him.
I'm just saying, what is going on with our black males, man?
I don't know.
He had on a lampshade. He did.
Do your thing, dog. Do your thing. I got nothing but love for you, black man.
By the way, I meant to talk about this. New study finds black teens face racial discrimination 5 times a day on average. Let me ask you a question. Did you teach your kids about racism and discrimination and how to handle it? Robert?
Yeah. Say it again.
Are you ignoring me?
No.
Oh, okay. Did you teach your children how to handle discrimination and racism?
I did not.
You know what? Therein lies the problem.
I did not.
Most black parents don't.
I just taught my boys a lot of black history. That's it. Just want to know what's what.
Well, I think if you teach them black history, that because I didn't teach them specifically how to handle racism. I taught them that if somebody picks on
I
you.
take that back. My youngest son, because he had some issues that he brought to my Ron brought some stuff to me. I talked to him about it, but
I just tell
Austin not so much.
I would just tell
a
him
little bit with Trey too, my oldest son. Trey,
yeah, I would just tell them just make sure you hit them right on the jaw.
You condone violence, right?
Oh yeah.
So do I. Yeah.
I mean, look,
I condone violence just like America.
I would always tell them, hey, don't start it, just end it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how you end it is they get you one punch right on the jaw. Once you get them right there in that jaw chin area, most people gonna buckle. They ain't ready for that.
Man, you'd be surprised.
You know. So, but the reason I'm bringing this up, a new Rutledge study finds that black teenagers in the United States face discrimination multiple times a day, most frequently online. Okay? The study published in the Journal of Applied Developmental Psychology was done to examine how black teens experience racial discrimination. The study has concluded that discriminatory incidents often lead to depression. And see, this is why I'm bringing this up, because it does. All right? The research reflects that researchers and activists have asserted for years black adolescents are forced to face anti-black microaggressions on a daily basis. Importantly, this study expands the research on the many ways that discrimination happens, whether it is being teased by peers, asked to speak for their racial group in class, or seeing a racist post on social media. Researchers studied the day-to-day lives of 101 black teenagers living in predominantly black neighborhoods in Washington, D.C. The participants ages 13 to 17 were surveyed daily for a 2-week period, looking at each student's experience with racial discrimination. It explains that while most examine discrimination over a year-long period, daily assessment is more accurate. The study concludes that on the average, black teens face over 5 incidents of racial discrimination each day. A total of over 5,600 occurrences were reported. It was concluded that the internet is the major source of discriminatory behavior directed toward black youth, as they spend more time online than kids of other races and ethnicities. The internet has also been found as a source of frequent discrimination because of the anonymity and lack of consequences. Now, what's the point of this, and why am I bringing this up?
Okay.
You wondering why your kids are not doing well in school? You wondering why your kids are always depressed? Are you talking to your kids about discrimination? Because if you are a black parent and you're not talking to your kids about discrimination, then guess what? You're part of the problem. They really are. Now, here's the thing, and you made a good point. I didn't talk specifically about my kids. The only conversation I had to my son about discrimination was when he started driving. Okay? I didn't have to worry about my daughter because my daughter went to an HBCU. So she lived a life where, you ain't getting much discrimination over there. Right. But one of the things that I did was I taught them black history. And how you can I guess you could say, insulate them from racism is teach them history. Yeah. Because if they know their history, they'll know that some of the bogus things that some white people say is nothing more than a lie. Yeah. And then they have the knowledge and the wherewithal to snap back on them based on truth. Exactly. Okay? So that's why it's important, if nothing else, that's why it's important for you to teach your kids history. But y'all don't even do that. Y'all send your polar children out into the wilderness and expect them to be strong. I didn't teach you a Coleman. I didn't teach you that way.
Yeah, I teach you to be weak.
And then they end up snapping because you haven't taught them about who they are. And I'm going to tell you, I read another story where they talk about how depression contributes not just to black children, but black Americans. They say it takes anywhere from 3 to 5 years, discrimination and racism, off your life expectancy as a black person. So it affects your children, folks. You all got to get involved. That's the bottom line on that. And Robert brings up all the time, why y'all wait 5 years to start fighting for y'all schools? Oops! Robert said, that wasn't me.
Not fighting for your schools.
That wasn't me. Robert said that.
No, not fighting for your schools. But, I mean, you have to be having a conversation with people who are in positions of power so you can find out what you need to do to move forward your agenda. I mean, Senator Chesterfield comes back year 5 and says, well, the governor just told me we need to get test scores up. Well, damn, you could have been doing that over the last 5 years, if that was the case.
Is that the first time the governor said something to Senator Chesterfield?
I don't know. But this is the first time I've seen Senator Chesterfield have a meeting and talk about how to move forward.
But you missed my point.
What's that?
Is that why didn't Senator Chesterfield go and ask before now?
I can't tell you. I can't tell you that. I don't know.
I'm just saying. By the way, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was formally indicted on corruption charges Tuesday, just hours before he was set to meet Donald Trump for wait a minute, okay. So the Prime Minister of Israel, who gets $7 billion of your tax dollars every year, was formally indicted on corruption charges on Tuesday. He's set to meet with Donald Trump today, the other corrupted person, to unveil a new Middle East peace plan. Boy, that's just too ironic. It just really is. It's kind of like all those nuts who Donald Trump had to defend him. Pam Bundy. She took $25,000 from Donald Trump to drop the investigation in the Trump University. I'm just saying, American people, if you guys don't wake up, y'all get what you deserve, man. I even say that about what's going on here in Little Rock. If you all don't wake up and start demanding results from your public officials, then you get what you deserve. That's why I'm saying about this thing with this trial. I mean, with this death penalty, this guy who may have been put to death. We don't know if it's true, but why aren't y'all demanding? Where are the black ministers? Where's the Black Ecumenical Task Force of Little Rock? Do they have one? Where are the Black Lawyers Association of Little Rock? Do they have one? Where are the Black Chamber of Commerce of Little Rock? Do they have one? Where are the Black Police Unions of Little Rock? Do they have one? Why aren't all of you demanding that the governor redress this issue of Ledell Lee? That's leadership or the lack thereof. I'm just saying, folks. At what point do you all get tired of being a damn doormat? I'm just asking you. Yeah, y'all know y'all get mad at me all the time. And damn Dave Coleman, he always on that show talking. And look, you wouldn't get mad at me if you knew I wasn't telling the truth. You wouldn't get mad at me. You say, oh, he just on there talking. No, but you get mad at me because you know we on there telling the truth. Where are the leaders in this city? Look, I think Senator Chesterfield's a wonderful lady.
Okay.
But you're telling me that in the 5 years that these schools have been taken over, and I know she's been fighting valiantly, that she's never asked the governor what Little Rock needs to do to get their schools back? Don't you see how problematic that is?
I can't say that. I can't
So
say that.
if she has, why hadn't she said it? Or she could have at least said, I've asked the governor, he hadn't given me an answer.
I can't say that.
I don't know. I'm just asking.
Me either. I can't say that because I don't know. But this is what I do know, is that she had the conversation with the governor, and then she went into get it done mode. So what she's doing now, she's trying to get it done.
I understand that. But this is 5 years since.
Well, you've had other people working on this.
And nobody has asked the governor and pinned him down. See, this was the argument that I was making when I first started talking about this. When everybody was talking about Michael Poore and who's the other guy? Johnny Key. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, before I even started weighing in on this issue, I wanted to, get a grasp. I didn't, I'm thinking Johnny Key. I'm thinking, Johnny Key. I'm thinking the others, Michael Poore. Yeah, maybe they do have something to do with this. But I couldn't understand why no one had even attempted to address the governor. Because it was ultimately the governor who decided. Johnny Key them didn't come in there and say, hey, we're going to take the schools over. The school board didn't say, oh, we're going to take the school over. The education department didn't say, oh, we're going to take the schools over. They did that at the behest of Asa Hutchinson. And nobody was calling him out on that. We started this show, I know for the last 3 years, I've heard nobody attack Asa up until the last year. I don't understand that. I don't understand why local leaders, school board members, everybody was not pointing the finger at Asa Hutchinson. Everything that goes on in this state is under Asa Hutchinson's reign. Just like this thing with Ledell Lee. I read that article and I saw those articles, and before I brought it up last week, I started reading, and the first name I was looking for was Asa Hutchinson. The second name I was looking for was Leslie Rutledge. None of those articles, the newspaper, the television, none of them pointed, none of them even asked. And the comment that I made on KATV on their Facebook post, I simply said, why hasn't the governor been asked this question? Why don't an enterprising young journalist go and ask the governor, did he put a man to death? I don't understand y'all here, man. I don't understand. I agree with you. They dropped the ball on this Little Rock School District thing because no one wanted to point, because you know why? It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's too many black folks in this city who is taking money under the table from Asa Hutchinson. Yeah, I said it.
You think that to be the case?
I know it's the case.
How do you know?
I know it's the case.
How do you know?
I'm just saying. It's too many black folks in this city taking money under the table from Asa Hutchinson, whether it may be in the form of donations or jobs. See, this is why y'all ain't moving forward, my brothers and sisters. This is why.
I don't know that. I don't know that to be the case, Dave. David Coleman.
Now, you're going to sit over there and say that to me? I will reach over there and put my hand around your neck and choke the gray out your beard.
I don't know that to be the case. Dave, please don't choke the gray out. I don't know that to be the case.
Yeah, you do.
I don't.
Yeah, that's why you're snickering, looking like Smartly the cat.
I don't know that to be the case. Only thing I will say is that I think that if we want to see progress, and if we want to see our school district get better, then yeah, I think we're gonna have to do some really hard things. And one of those things is we're gonna really have to call people out about what's happening within the school district.
Exactly. So. Not just the school district, but this city and this state. If you see the reason that, look, I don't agree. Let me tell you something. I consider Russ Raycop a friend of mine. Okay?
Okay.
I don't agree with everything Russ does.
Okay.
But you know what? Russ is a needed person in this city.
I agree. I agree with that.
You see what I'm saying?
I agree.
I think Russ can be a little bit more tactful. He lacks tact. No offense, Russ.
Russ says sometimes you just
need to
be tactless.
But he's right. Sometimes you just gotta call it like you see it. I'm not mad at him about that.
Okay.
But you know what I'm saying about Russ is Russ Raycop is needed in this city because this city for so long has been doing dirt under the table and nobody had the guts to call it out.
I don't disagree with you. But again, I have to say that in Little Rock, we often are cautious, and I think it goes back again to whenever we have a black leader, black anybody, we, because of whatever, we don't ever want to criticize because we understand the challenges that we're facing already, right? And so that makes us less likely to criticize people that we need to sometimes criticize. We don't do that.
But you don't criticize the white ones.
I don't need to. You know why? Because if the black ones were doing what they were doing, then I could criticize the white ones, but the black ones not even doing what they should be doing. I can't criticize white folk when black folk ain't doing nothing either.
You gotta criticize. I'm an equal opportunity criticizer.
Well, I criticize everybody. I critique. I should say criticize, but I critique everybody.
Well, that's what I do.
I give you the positive. I give you the positive and the negatives of everybody. Because again, the thing for me is that some of these people are really good folks. They're really good people if you sit down and talk with them, you want to have a beer, or have a conversation.
That's
you realize
fine.
They're really good people. But when it comes to being a director or a state senator or a state representative or whatever their JP or county clerk or county judge, they're not very good people in those respects.
But see, it's not even an
They're
elected.
not very good elected officials.
But see, to me, it's not even about the elected official. It's about those people who run around, who have organizations, who have churches, who have whatever you call mosque or whatever, where you all don't stand for people. You live in your own little fiefdoms. You don't care about what's going on outside your world. Mm-hmm. Look. You cannot prosper if the world is burning down around you. It's not going to happen. This city will not prosper until it gets fixed. And that means, you're going to have to ruffle some feathers. You're going to have to call some people out. You're going to have to demand action from those who have been getting over on you, even though they may be your friend.
Yeah, I mean, we have to call attention to it. I mean, we have to let people know that, hey, you know what? As an elected official, they're not towing their end. Because, I mean, I don't understand how people keep electing Doris Wright. I don't understand it. How do you keep putting her back year after year after year? And this is the only woman that not one time have Director Hendricks, Director Richardson, and Director Wright voted together on an issue that was black. Not one time. She even voted against residency for police officers. With everything that was going on. But nobody criticizes it.
Let me see if I understand this comment from Rockman Carter. Then people like you guys with very large mouths / platforms may not speak 100 because of certain personal relationships you may have grown up and like said person. So you fall short in your focus and are a part of the corruption. Rockman, do you listen to this show?
He don't listen to the show. No, he don't listen. He don't listen. He don't listen. So let me just move on from that one.
I appreciate your comment. As you can see, I don't mind. I'll read your comment. I don't care whether you agree or disagree with us. But
he don't listen, no.
Dude, you don't listen to this show.
You couldn't be.
Because we don't have favorites on this show.
No. If you did it, you did it.
Yeah, right. We don't have favorites on this show.
And we ain't talking about your personal stuff. We talking about you as an elected official.
Exactly.
We don't care about what you do in the privacy of your own home.
Exactly.
Or else. We talking about what do you do and how what you do impacts black folk. That's all we talking about, player. So yeah, you haven't listened to the show very much. He ain't listening.
He's not listening to this show. I mean, I don't care if you call Robert a big mouth. He is big mouth.
Yeah. I think he meant you the big mouth, and I got the platform.
Well,
I think that's
either way, I don't care what you call us, but bro, listen to the show. Because we are equal opportunity attackers. And we don't do it just to try to hurt people's feelings. As I say oftentimes, when I criticize people, I'm not criticizing you personally. Unfortunately, a lot of people will take it personal. When I criticize people, I'm criticizing your actions or the lack thereof. And if you are a political official, whether you're red, black, yellow, or green, hey, you're open to criticism, brothers.
Yeah. Because you signed up for it.
Exactly. If you can't handle the criticism, that's why I laugh at Republicans. Is that if you can't go on shows that don't agree with you, then therein should tell you that your arguments have fallacies. You get that, right? If you cannot agree or at least go on shows to defend your argument, then your argument is a fallacy. I tell people all the time, look, this door is open for anyone who disagrees with what we're saying.
It's a phone number. Call.
This phone number, 855-525-5683, is open. If you disagree, we'll honorably listen to you. But what we will not allow you to do is make false claims. Okay? So whether you're Republican, whether you're the Little Rock FOP, whether you're the GOP party of Arkansas, the Democratic Party of Arkansas, the Black Caucus, Who Shot John organization, the Confederate Daughters of America. I don't care. The KKK. You want to come and debate me on this show? These two brothers right here? Just call me up. Here's my personal number. 615-554-0568. Call me up and say, Dave, I was listening to your show. I heard what y'all guys said. I want to come on the show. I'll set up a time and I'll promo you. Just don't come on here acting no damn fool.
We got full fix.
You see, I'm just saying. So, I'm not afraid to speak truth to power.
We got full fix.
Oh yeah, we got one of those. I'm not afraid to speak truth to power. And one thing I tell you guys all the time, that neither myself or Robert are always right. I want you to send me information. I want you to prove me right.
Educate us.
I want to be educated. For the rest of my life, I live to be educated. Because once I stop learning, I might as well be dead. I tell my children, if I get to a point where I'm an invalid, where I can't take care of myself, where I can't read, don't be hanging on to me. Let me go. I'm ready to go. Because that's not the person I am. So if you disagree, that's fine. But please listen to the show before you disagree with us. Okay? Because if you listen to the first part of the show, I've told you Frank Scott is my friend.
But don't mean we won't get in that ass though.
I've said some negative things about. I've got Frank's number in my cell phone.
Don't mean we won't get in that ass.
Okay? It was just a couple of weeks ago that, during the Christmas holidays, that I reached out to the mayor and said, hey, Mayor, why don't you change the lights, help them to change the lights on the bridge to recognize Kwanzaa? He did it. He said it was a great idea. Send me a text about he was working on it.
Dave, you are the man.
You know, and I'm not saying that to throw names around or anything.
You ain't name dropping, are you?
I'm not name dropping. I'm simply saying.
But you'll still call his ass out if you do.
Right. Look, I can't be a true friend, and this goes for you, Robert. I consider you my friend.
And not you, Dave.
Okay.
Kisses.
I can't. No, dog. Sorry. Ain't no Billy Portering up here, dog. Sorry. No.
You are you are something.
I expect, Robert, that if I'm screwing up, if I'm not doing something that needs to be done, I expect Robert to call me out. That's what my friend would do.
But we got to put it in context, Dave. If you are representing black folks and your job is to look out for us and you ain't doing it, we calling that ass out.
Exactly.
Regardless of who you are.
Exactly.
Black, white, green,
Exactly.
purple, orange. We don't care.
Exactly.
We're going to call you out. We're going to at least explain why you should be doing it.
Exactly. And if you're not open to those types of criticisms, then why are you in leadership positions?
Exactly.
That's what it really means here. Is that we have got to start, the problem with black people, and I did say that, the problem with the black people is that if I disagree with you, then he ain't my friend no more. And we seek to try to destroy that person. As opposed to saying, are his comments worth the merit? Is there merit to his comments? And one thing I try to do is look at myself honestly. I'm flawed I don't have as many flaws as Robert.
I'm a flawed brother, though.
But I'm flawed just like all of y'all.
I'm a flawed brother.
I've told y'all over and over again, I can't turn the other cheek no more. I tried that. I can't sing Kumbaya with white evangelicals. I can't.
I dig it.
I can't. I'm flawed.
But again, Dave, what's important is that I'll tell you this. So I think when I first got into the advocacy game, I'll never forget it. I had a brother come up to me after a meeting and said, I think you're a sharp brother. He said, but I wouldn't follow you. And I was like, what? He's like, I wouldn't follow you because you're too loud. You just gave me a whole list of things I need to work on, right? And I walked away from that being really pissed off, right? But I was talking to a friend, and I was talking to him, and I was telling him what the guy said. And he looked at me, and this is what he said to me. This is why I love this brother. He looked at me and said, is what you doing about you? I was like, no, why? He said, so take that man's advice, implement it, and do that work.
There you go.
I was like, huh.
No wonder you're such a great advocate.
Exactly. But he
Got it. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? I just said, no wonder you're just a great advocate. And you know what his response were? Did y'all hear that? He said, exactly.
Dude, you tripping. My point is this, is that I have often taken criticism and taken that criticism and looked at it critically and said, okay, is there any merit to this? Is any of this true? And what I've learned is most times, even when people are trying to be ugly, they also help you because there are some things that you can improve on. And so, I mean, my thing is I take everything that way. Because I want people to be better because I want us as a community to be better. And I think we can only get better if we have people in leadership who are doing the things they need to do. And they know what those things are, right? I mean, it's like I said though, I am fair. I am honest with myself about who I am. So if somebody says something about me, I will take it into consideration. I will not be dismissive. I will not say I don't like them. Because the guy who told me that, he didn't have to say a word to me.
No, he didn't.
He could have just let me keep flailing like a fish out of water, right? Because when I went back and thought about what I was doing, how I was doing it, he was very correct. I was not effective. And the reason I wasn't effective is because I was loud. Nobody could understand what I was saying because I was talking like 1,000,000 miles an hour, right? I mean,
you had no facts.
I had facts. That's why he said, you're smart. But nobody can hear that craziness because, you got to slow it down. But I was talking like this, man. Yeah. And so right? And it was fast and it was loud. Nobody could understand it. And so my man, he gave me some great credit. He gave me some great constructive advice. And I took it to heed. And I thank him for it all the time. Because if not for him, I don't think I'd be I wouldn't have been still doing it that long. I think I would have been out earlier.
By the way, Rockman, he says, but the leaders in Little Rock, you're really saying the same thing we've been saying, Rockman. But the leaders in Little Rock are not just political. They are organizations, family, friends, and civil rights icons, present city officials, using Little Rock's history as a false oath, old, young, and in between. I do listen to the show, and there are several examples. But you cool. You cool too, man.
Nah, give me the examples. What's the example? He said several examples. Give us an example, Rockman.
Yeah, you cool too, man. Yeah,
I want an example though, because if I've been doing it, I want to check myself.
The whole point is that we're all not going to agree.
No, we're not going to agree. But let's not fall out about it. Let's figure out a way to move forward together.
Exactly, and that's what we have to do as black people.
Because me and Dave don't always agree. I don't always agree with Russ. I don't always agree with Keith.
No,
I don't always agree with
right.
Kendrick.
I just told you that I don't agree with everything Russ said.
But we still figure out a way to move forward.
Yeah,
because we understand that the struggle is far bigger than one issue.
I mean, you still periodically, Russ calls the show, I put him on, then sometimes I'll cut him off. Sometimes I won't answer the phone. I'm just kidding, Russ. I'm just kidding. But I mean, but no, I mean, see, the one thing that I think we all can agree on, that we have to move our community forward. Okay? So what is the most viable way to do that? Everybody plays their part. And if we're not willing to play a part, if all we do, as many black people do, is sit back and criticize and not get involved in the process, then that's why we don't get to move forward. That's why we don't get to move forward. It's important. So, hey, I don't mind you criticizing me. As you can see, I read your criticism on the air.
This is Black Focus. This is about black folk.
You see what I'm saying? I don't care about your criticism. I'll read your criticism.
This is about black
I'll
folk.
take it. I'll read it. I'll say if there's any merit to it, or I'll ignore it. By the way, Tanya said I would have told him to kiss my grits. I don't know who you're talking about, Tanya, but but Now, I'll kiss your grits if you got some shrimp and some cheese on it.
Jesus.
You know, because I love me some shrimp and grits. In fact, I'm making shrimp and grits this weekend, by the way.
Yeah, man, I meant to tell you, man, I was going to stop by this weekend.
Little andouille sausage.
I meant to tell you that.
Little shrimp and grits this weekend. Maybe some homemade bread.
I meant to tell you.
To sop it in the juice. It's going to be so good. But, you know, I just think we have got to do a better job. And that's part of what this show is really all about, is making you think, making you want to say, wait a minute, is he... And really what I want you to do is when you hear me say something, go look it up.
Yeah, don't take it to be gospel.
Just go look it up. Tanya says she's talking about the guy who was criticizing Robert. He was actually criticizing both of us, but
yeah, I'm cool though. I mean,
but we cool with that. I mean, if you want to criticize us, that's fine.
Yeah, but you know what? To criticize you, ask got to listen to the show, so it's all good.
Right. So
I'm cool with that.
So, but no, I just think we've got to start doing a better job as people to accept criticism. Look, if you walk up and say, "Dave, man, dude, your stomach getting kind of big," am I gonna get mad, or am I gonna look down at my stomach and say, "Damn"? It is getting. I know it. I've gained some weight, but that's because I can't work out anymore because of this back problem. But I ain't gonna be mad at you about it. I'm just not. That's just how I'm built, man. I'm used to the criticism. Look, man, as a black man in America, you criticize every day. And the sooner you get used to it, the sooner you accept it, that doesn't what? Oh, okay. The sooner you accept criticism, you look at it and say, is there merit? That's how you change. That's how you grow. You know, it is. It's like I gave that football analogy. Had I not, I could have been very well upset that coach said I didn't play a good game. Even though I knew, I felt like I did. But then when he brings me in and he shows me that, here, Dave, this is where you should be, but this is where you are. Now, you made a lot of tackles, but you should have made the tackle for 1 yard, but you made the tackle for 3 yards. From that point forward, that was the first game of the season, I worked my tail off to be a better outside linebacker. And you know how I know I worked my tail off? Because at the end of the year, I ended up being All-State. I would not have made that. Now, I'm not bragging on me. I'm using this as an example. Is that if you're not willing to accept criticism for something that you're trying to be good at, then you're not going to be good at whatever it is. And folks, I've been in the talk radio business for 35 years, so I'm open for criticism. This is you put a target on your back when you get in this business, because everybody's trying to see what you did wrong or what you said wrong. We had a lady in Memphis. She was an English teacher, and she would call WHBQ, and here's what she would do. She wouldn't call about the subject matter of what was being discussed. You know what she would call about? That you used the wrong subject-verb agreement. That you should not have used an adverb. You should have used a verb. I'm serious. So guess what? Everybody that was on the air became conscious of how we spoke. And if we didn't get a call from Elaine that day or that week,
right,
we knew that we're doing okay.
So it's all good.
You got to be open to criticism. That's my point.
Every day, all day, Black.
That's my point.
All right, black people.
All right.
Love y'all.
We got to get out of here.
Love my black people.
I love y'all too.
Folks.
And I love all y'all who respond as well.
Yeah, love all our folks. We love white people too.
I like me some white
We
people.
love white folks and black folks. But
No, because I don't love all black folks. I like some black folks and I like some white folks.
Okay, Dave. Well,
I'm just
today,
being honest.
We're saying we love some black folks and some white folks. Love y'all.
I love some Arabs too. We don't want to leave them out. And Asians
I ain't going all down there.
and Latinos.
Stop. I love y'all black folk. Love you, black folk.
And Aborigines and Native Americans.
I'm done. I love you, black folk.
I do. I whoop y'all.
Rock man, love you too, black.
All right, man.
Keep your head up, black.
All right, so you got a quote yet?
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta let everything go. Purge yourself. If you are unhappy with anything, whatever is bringing you down, get rid of it. Because you'll find that when you're free, your true creativity, your true self comes out. Tina Turner.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know you like that.
That was deep.
That's what I am, black. That's what I am.
Let me go and do this one. This one is short and sweet right here, okay? This particular quote says, I must keep in mind there is more to know than what is within the circumference of my awareness. Y'all have a great day.
You've been listening to Black Focus, where we discuss our issues with our solutions.
Hey, I enjoyed the show, y'all. Thanks for listening as well. Appreciate all the support y'all give us.
1 p.m. on Joynet Radio.
Much love, homeboys and homegirls. Dudes and dudettes.